Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, March 17th, 2016. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Outlining the importance of having the church's voice in the debate over the legalization of marijuana, the Methodist Church held a discussion on the topic last evening. The panelists comprised of retired medical surgeon Dr. Cecil, Cyrus, psychiatrist Dr. Anne-Marie Morris Patterson, and director of the St. Vincent Community College, Nigel Scott. Moderator at the event, Superintendent of the Kingston and Chateaubelair District, Reverend Adolf Davis, says the use and trade of marijuana affects many facets of society, and that the involvement of the church in such issues is critical to national development.
There have been conversations about decriminalization versus legalization, or regulation versus legalization. There's been conversation on medicinal versus recreational use. There are issues with regards to the economic benefits and the issues, of course, with regards to the religious perspective on the use of marijuana and its place in what some may consider the unity of the Rastafarian community. However, the choice of the topic was deliberate in being what I would consider very open-ended, to allow the panelists a relative amount of liberty to explore this topic and to share with us from their own perspective and their own experience.
Psychiatrist Dr. Anne-Marie Morris Patterson revealed that in a survey conducted among secondary school students in 2011 here, most of the youngsters were initiated at 12 years of age. She also outlined that the drug has properties that can cause psychosis but also be a relaxant.
From forms 2 to 4 were initiating their marijuana use at about age 12, and they deemed that about 40% of them deemed that it was easily accessible and they knew how to get it. And the marijuana is, the compounds in the marijuana is not just one compound, but there are multiple compounds. But there are two main ones that is of scientific interest. So you have the THC, which is the tetrahydrocannabinol, and that is the one that is psychoactive. That's the one that's intoxicating, that gives you the euphoria. And you also have another one, which is CBD, and that one is more relaxing. So it reduces anxiety, and the young people will tell you that, especially those who have a temper, they will tell you that when they smoke, it makes them feel calm. They will give that as a reason for using.
Under the sub-theme, The Destructive Effects of Marijuana, retired surgeon Dr. Cecil Cyrus says that pregnant women can affect their baby's development when they use the illicit drug. The medical doctor of close to 40 years outlined the deterioration of persons using marijuana and expressed concern that some babies are born premature because of the mother's use of the herb.
So the babies were premature because the mothers were smoking pot. One of them's husband was an inveterate dealer in marijuana, and she said she was not to harm her child. She used to boil the marijuana in her food, but of course it affected the child. So, and we are convinced of this, that the two children were born prematurely. And the children, even they're born at term, they will be what is called premature from the point of their birth weight, and they have certain stigmata, other stigmata. They're smaller than average to the point of being classified as premature, slightly distorted physical features, and their smaller size makes them more prone to disease.
Dr. Cyrus explained that he treated many smokers of marijuana for respiratory problems, some of whom he said later developed cancer.
Now, there are other physical effects of marijuana in several areas in the body, especially the respiratory tract. I have treated patients with sinusitis, recurrent head colds, asthmatic bronchitis, which presented as wheezing and a cough. Inflammation in lung pneumonia was a very rare incidence. In all my 38 years, I saw 2 cases where I saw literally hundreds when I was a student in Burton. And one of them was an habitual smoke of marijuana. He was a bright young man who got hooked on smoking, and as his performance at work deteriorated progressively, he was demoted and eventually sacked. He spent the rest of his life in the cage of a little house, away from the rest of mankind, smoking marijuana. He eventually died from cancer of the same lung which had been affected by pneumonia.
Traffic Traffic in capital Kingstown came to a standstill earlier today following the collapse of part of a building on Grenville Street. The incident is said to have occurred around 7:30 a.m. No one was injured. There is no official information as to what might have caused part of the building to collapse. However, many persons who are on site today are of the view that the building might have served its time, having been constructed decades ago. Former politician Burton Williams is of the view that there are several pieces of legislation, if properly implemented and enforced, can assist in disciplining the behavior of persons and provide them with incentives to take an active part in the protection of the environment. Williams made the remarks on Sunday's Hit Talk program, in which the panelists discussed how the threat of the Zika virus has brought focus on the degradation of the environment. According to Williams, who is a former health minister, the policies of the current government have failed to engage the public so as to help maintain a clean and healthy environment.
As a matter of fact, it was during this period also of that we introduced the Best Village competition, which was a tremendous success in terms of motivating communities to engage and involve themselves in the upkeep and beautification of their various communities. And so I would like for us to bear in mind that all of these, the whole question of environmental protection, it has to be looked at within the context of the policy framework of the government, because we're not going to be able to have the people being motivated unless there is the kind of leadership, the kinds of incentive given to them to participate in the protection of the environment.
And General Medical Practitioner Dr. Wayne Murray noted that to ensure a clean environment, one policy that has to change is the scarcity in the pickup of white goods to a more frequent and routine schedule.
We do have a routine sort of the waste collection. We see this happening coming along, but the system really needs to be tweaked a little bit. For instance, you hear like periodically you hear that they will be having a white goods collection, etc. Who do you think gets affected? You think is the only person who throws that refrigerator over? No, all of us are affected because it becomes so right away. I think the solid waste department concept of white goods only being picked up every 6 months or whatever, I think it's a ridiculous policy, because in a sense it's a protective measure. There need to be a more frequent and routine pickup. If they are responsible for waste, then they are responsible for waste, and there need to be more frequency.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines is becoming a reference point for investments and achievements in education. That's according to head of the Curriculum Development Unit in the Ministry of Education, Aldia Dyer, who was speaking at a creative and innovative workshop hosted earlier today by the Ministry of Economic Planning and the Ministry of Education at the UWI Open Campus. Dyer says that as citizens of this century and beyond, the demand for a skilled, dynamic and adaptable workforce with a strong desire and keen understanding of the value for lifelong learning cannot be overemphasized. She says the key concepts of creativity and innovation, which were to be explored during the workshop, are by no means accidental, adding that whatever investment is made in education must be done strategically.
The Ministry of Education recognizes the need, therefore, to ensure that teachers are fully equipped to effectively manage the challenges of the changes that are occurring. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is fast becoming a reference point for the investments and achievements in education across the region. However, our own internal evaluations are showing up a few gaps and some shortcomings that we wish to close and to improve rapidly.
Dyer says though a lot of effort has been made to revolutionize the instruction system, the the transformation is not happening as quickly as expected and urges teachers to go the extra mile so as to enable SVG to join the rapidly modernizing world.
The research shows that although we have invested so much in education, in the hardware, in revolutionizing what is taking place, it is not happening so fast. We are all users, we are consumers, but we want to join, we want to step up a little bit, and we want to train our workforce so that they too can become creators of the knowledge and skill that's coming to meet us. So let us work towards joining that group.
The education officer further urges participants to critically inspect modern and traditional methods of teaching to give the best energy to their students and for a better already thriving education system.
I wish to point out though that even as we go forward, we must be careful not to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Rather, we must examine critically both the traditional and the modern methods of teaching so that we can achieve the best synergy. That you were selected to come here today by your school is a confirmation of your principal's confidence in you to return to the classroom, not only to implement, but also to share the knowledge and skills that you have gained here today. So that when we go back to the classrooms, we would not just see a vibrant class, one vibrant class, but we will see it throughout your school. You are charged with that responsibility.
Meantime, Science and Technology Coordinator Philip Jackson says that the workshop speaks to the need for ministries and government agencies to be able to articulate with each other in a timely manner when opportunities arise. Jackson says that living in an age where information and opportunities are constant, the right attitude and response of governments and other institutions are needed.
This sort of collaboration is very important to synergies and making sure that we not only complement each other's work, but at the same time bring a level of efficiency to the system and at the same time value addition to what each other are capable of doing. And I think even in your own way of doing business as teachers, I really want to encourage you to pioneer your ideas. If you have an idea about your classroom, how you want to take it in the area of creativity and innovation, science, technology, engineering, or math, go ahead with the mandate of your principal, pioneer what you do, and share your experience with others. That's critical.
Jackson further adds that SVG is at the stage where Vincentians want to move from just agriculture-based or service-based industries to boast of truly creative industries. He says that in order to achieve this, there must be pioneers from within the classrooms who are able to stimulate the children through teaching in the classroom.
The pioneers like you who are able to inspire your children at the level of the classroom, get them excited about solving problems using the methods of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And having done so, I want you to now go and share your experience, because we're not at that stage where we can do everything centrally. The government cannot do everything centrally. You have to be pioneers, and you have to take up the mantle of sharing what you learn. Because if you don't do that, what is going to happen is that the divide between schools are going to become wider and wider. If your school is doing something really nice and really cool, but it's keeping the results to themselves without sharing with others, over time you can see how the divide between the levels of school can widen over time.
Her Majesty's Prison Service is partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture to develop creative ways in rehabilitating the inmates at the Belle Isle Prison Facility. SVG Television's Bavin Oliver tells us more about the program in this report.
The inmates at the Belle Isle prison facility have been benefiting from an agricultural program which boosts their capacity in the area of animal husbandry. Superintendent of Prisons Burton says that this forms part of the prison service's vision to ensure inmates are given the adequate skills to re-enter society.
Our responsibility now to fit that person up, make them better individuals, that they would learn to respect themselves, respect their fellow men, respect people's property, etc. So you go out and you live law-abiding and productive lives. And this is what is really driving these programs, because we have to make our country better. And in order to make our country better, we got to try and cut the crime issue. And I think the prison is best placed in cutting that crime issue, because most of the people come to us. Okay, and if we do nothing, we make them more criminal. And so it's up to us to choose what we want to do. I choose to try to make them better individuals so that they could live meaningful, productive, purposeful lives on their return to society.
Meanwhile, District Officer responsible for animal husbandry and production in District 2, of which the Belle Isle prison facility is part of, Dr. Colleen Phillips, pointed out that the inmates are being comprehensively trained in this field so that when they leave the prison walls, they will have a better understanding of the process and to pass on their knowledge to others.
It's one where we have 25 on average students each class, the same guys, and basically what we want to do is teach them every single thing that they need to know to manage animals properly. So we look at deworming programs, we're looking at good nutrition, we're looking at good management during birth and during gestation or pregnancy and after birth. And we're looking at even basic record keeping and animal score. We're looking at the works, everything, so that at the end these guys are going to be technically sound to produce livestock and produce livestock in an efficient manner.
Dr. Phillips is confident in the ability of the participating inmates and says she is pleased with their enthusiasm.
These guys are becoming equipped so that when they go out there, they could themselves run a farm and make money from it as an activity. The guys are very motivated, I would say. I mean, they're learning. I'm blown away and I'm encouraged. They are appreciative. They are so appreciative that I'm actually sporting. Today I was given the beautiful surprise of an attire made specifically for me, where they just wanted to show their appreciation.
For SVG Television Evening News, I am Barvin Oliver.
Meanwhile, 2 of the inmates who are currently taking part in the animal husbandry program, Ezekiel Jacob and Bobby Joseph, expressed gratitude in being able to take part in the program and are confident that they can meaningfully utilize the skills they have acquired upon leaving the prison walls.
In the future, I should be a better person at our Methodist prison, Bidders Correctional Facility. It's not a bad place. I think we are doing something good for the society and for our young ones that coming up, and those who are out there not doing anything. I think the best thing for do is to buy some animal, rear them, and when I come out of this place, I think I can be the person as the animal doctor to take care of your animal whenever they are sick and have diarrhea, whatsoever. I know what type of medicine to give to them. We just have done giving them deworming there. We give them deworming and vitamin.
And what I feel about this program is very interesting. You have a lot of things here. Why did you know? I don't know. Along with goats, rabbits. Well, me is the main man for rabbit, right? Me is the farmer for rabbit. So I get a lot of interests, like doing Inmate and things I never know about. So I know about them now. So I could go and teach anybody about them things. Even you and all could take me out and I do everything. Right now, you have nothing here now that I can do. Because I understand everything that the doctor, and I'm glad for her for coming here to teach us in the lives. Right? So I hope she could come again, and all of you who go to the classes could be able to inherit something in the later days.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines recorded its 6th homicide today, as police are now investigating the fatal shooting of Philbert Joseph, a 37-year-old farmer of Carrere. Reports are that gunshots were heard between 1 and 2 a.m. this morning, and that a passerby found Joseph's body in front of his doorstep around 6:30 a.m. with what appears to be 2 gunshot wounds to his body. The father of one is described as an easygoing, well-known individual who made his living through farming. His death follows that of a German national at Walliaboo Bay earlier this month. And members of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force have been called upon to emulate the work of Detective Corporal Gamal Bowens when carrying out investigations of reports that come to the Criminal Investigation Department. The ambitious call came on Tuesday, March 16, 2016, at the Serious Offences Court after Chief Magistrate Rachel Brown convicted Alexis Brown on 2 separate charges of assault and bodily harm and damage to a jersey. According to Delpech, the report was made on the afternoon of March 12, 2016, during which time Bowens carried out investigations which led to the arrest of Brown. Delpech also noted that he was rather surprised to have seen all prosecution witnesses present in court to give evidence. He stated that for too long, the court had been held up due to the unavailability of files not submitted for several months, and that the action of Detective Corporal Bowens can be described as swift justice, and such is what is required here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Dwayne Sandy, a former national footballer, and Leisure Alexander, both of Brighton, along with Rafiq Chouet and Novel Says, walked out of the Serious Offences Court this morning free men after a no-case submission put forward by defense counsels Arthur Williams, Joseph Delves, and Michaela Ambrose was upheld by Chief Magistrate Rachel Brown. This came at the conclusion of a preliminary inquiry in 2 separate charges of attempted murder and possession of a firearm to endanger lives of Martin James of Villa and Materiel Stapleton of Calder at the Young Island Dock in Villa on June 10, 2015. The 4 men were accused of traveling to the area in a white motor vehicle and fired gunshots at the 2 victims, one of whom was lucky to escape. The other male sustained injuries. The lawyers in their submission contended that the prosecution did not make out a case for their clients to answer before a judge and jury.